Look, first of all, congratulations to Rwanda for a successful event. I'm here representing the Republic of Ghana. I'm here with my colleagues, William, Alex, Johnson, James, and there are a few other Ghanaian representations here. I think for us from Ghana, we see this as a big opportunity, and we commend the leadership of this country, the President himself, Minister Paula, and David, the CEO of the National Cybersecurity Authority, and collaborators for putting this together. I think it's important. Cyber is a borderless issue. Therefore, any response, in fact, any appropriate, effective, results-driven response requires the level of collaboration and engagement as we are having. Those sort of events highly create a platform for dialogue, platform for experience sharing, a platform to understand the perspectives from different countries, and not just countries, from private sector actors, from government organization entities, international organizations. I've seen the World Bank and others are here. So I think you don't get this very often, but I think once in a while, at least twice a year, you need to aggregate that all the stakeholders from public, private sector, across all levels. I saw school children and others coming to dialogue on some of the pertinent issues that affect our digital transformation. And I think Rwanda is a good place to have this conversation. Ghana has MOU with Rwanda, and we support you fully in hosting, leading this conversation. It's a similar thing that Ghana will be hosting the global conference on cyber capacity building in November, between November 29th and 30th. We are hosting this event, which is being organized by the World Bank, the World Economic Forum, Global Forum on Cyber Expertise, and Cyber Peace Institute, of course, with the government of Ghana doing this. It's a similar event that we're trying to raise capacity issues. So I think it's commendable, and we fully support such initiative. Ghana will always be supporting such engagement, and I must say Rwanda is a place to have this. We're quite satisfied, and it's highly commendable, the leadership that your country has shown in this field. I wish I can have the metrics here. Assessing cyber resilience requires a number of things. Certainly, you need to look at the legislative environment. You need to look at organizational measures. You need to look at technical measures that has been put in place. You need to look at capacity, which includes awareness. And I think the ITU Global Cybersecurity Index, to some extent, provides certain metrics to measure this. The last assessment that came out was in 2020. I think African countries are making progress with respect to legislations. We're adopting the necessary laws to deal with cyber threat. A number of African countries are also establishing cybersecurity agencies. I think according to Smart Africa assessment, about 16 African countries have established dedicated agencies responsible for cybersecurity, including Ghana and of course Rwanda. We've also seen increasing capacity in the area of awareness creation with the introduction of Cyberman, Cyber Week event across the continent. I think these are significant milestones. However, there are significant gaps, especially awareness creation, especially cybersecurity financing, right? So, whilst I do believe there are concrete steps being implemented across the continent, the obvious gaps are awareness creation efforts so that we can educate the citizens on the dangers of cyber risks, capacity building gaps in terms of cyber expertise, cybersecurity expertise available to help protect our critical information infrastructures, are gaps there. Capacity of national authorities like the Criminal Investigation Department agency to be able to successfully investigate and prosecute cybercrime cases. These are issues. Financing, how much government dedicating to cybersecurity across the continent, there's huge question marks there. Even private sector, which are investing in cybersecurity infrastructure, the banking, financial sector, telecommunication, how much of those budgets are being dedicated towards cybersecurity? I think these are some of the areas that I think we need to pay attention as we take concrete steps to improve capacity to achieve cyber resilience across the continent. I'm happy to share with you Ghana is leading a number of areas. I think one primary area is our legislation. We've introduced the Cybersecurity Act in 2020, and I'm happy other African countries are looking at that as a model legislation because that is really the bedrock for most of the things that we started doing, including, most importantly, the protection of critical information infrastructure. I think Ghana has got a very comprehensive framework to deal with that, and that is very much pertinent within our legislation. Section 35 up to about 40 deals with those issues. We've identified about 13 critical information infrastructure sectors, and the risk management processes are currently ongoing to help protect the sector. I think that is quite innovative, looking across the African continent, a country which has taken steps to look at this issue in a very holistic, manner. But I think another big innovation is our licensing and accreditation regime. Our license in Ghana is licensing cybersecurity providers. Ghana is accrediting cybersecurity professionals. I think it's the second country in the world, apart from Singapore, which has taken the steps. Just earlier part in my panel discussion, I mentioned the need for capacity workforce development. Ghana, I believe the first step to go is to have visibility of how many professionals you have across all levels, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. We need to know them by way of at least registration, by way of identification. Once you have that, you can then assess their maturity level in terms of competency. Then you can have the interventions to bring them up. It's very important. So Ghana has taken that step, which no other African country has actually also, started up. But I think our approach in terms of responding to the threat faced by children on the internet, Ghana has adopted a national child online protection framework that deals with children issues. I think these are some of the areas that we believe we've set the pace. It's not a competition, but we believe Ghana has put something on the table, as you said, that other African countries can collaborate on. And I do believe other African countries are also making good progress, like your country itself. I think there are a few things that they've done. Togo is also, experimenting some public-private sector collaboration to deal with the issue. So I think each of the countries on the continent is doing something that we can learn. Ghana is also very much interested to learn from all the other African countries to ensure we build upon what we have done. But certainly Ghana contribute to innovation, forward-thinking approach to dealing with the cybersecurity threat that we face on the continent. Otherwise, Ghana wouldn't have signed an MOU with your country, Rwanda. And we also signed because we know Rwanda has got something that Ghana can learn from, as Rwanda will also learn from us. Bilateral is key. Of course, multilateral environment like the AU, even within our sector, we have the ECOWAS. I think you are also in the Eastern Bloc, East African Community. These are all mechanisms by which we deal with global threat. But you can't take away the bilateral. The direct relationship is so important. And I can tell you my relationship with David and how we're able to get things done quickly. And I think that is the essence of being cyber matters, that's the essence of bilateral relationship. It reduces the bureaucratic gaps that all the 54 countries have been decided on, so we can't move. I think within the domain of cyber, you can't use those traditional approaches, and therefore bilateral, especially if you have people who thinks the same, who is driven to improve cyber capacity, I think it's important. It's a very effective tool within this environment to ensure that it does not replace the multilateral, or the sub-regional approaches. They also offer unique benefit that within the East African bloc or within the West African bloc, we can take a solid decision and operationalize a certain process like what ECOWAS has done. Ghana worked with ECOWAS to implement a policy on critical information infrastructure. Ghana has worked with ECOWAS to implement cybercrime, cybersecurity strategy. So these are some of the relevant sub-regional approaches. Ghana has signed up the Malabo Convention, which is the African Union Convention. So we are actively involved in all these areas. But those areas do not replace also the bilateral engagement. And I think Rwanda is one country we have signed an MOU because we believe we've got a lot to learn from each other. Ghana and Rwanda has a special relationship. I believe you know from your history, in terms of the dark side of your history. Ghana played a very friendly role. I do believe you are taught in schools, right? Certainly. Recently, I think your president, recognized one of our accomplished generals who was actually involved in that. So I think you have a special place within our country, and we also have the same thing, because you also see Ghanaians the same positive light because of that historical links that we have. And our president believes in that relationship, and we are mandated to build upon that. And I think we are here also to solidify that relationship and ensure that what our predecessors did in fostering the relationship continue to do. So I think there are opportunities and also of course, the dangers. I want to talk about a fear. The fear means that we can't stop the digitalization. It's moving so fast at all levels: public space, government sector, private sector space. We do not have control in terms of stopping that. And certainly, these developments are likely to create serious and existential risks for our cyber space. And if all our critical systems are going to run in the digital environment, we just need to act quickly to improve the cyber resilience of this infrastructure. So as technology is also evolving, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, all this development are coming in those days, right? The cybersecurity arrangements around this development are also key. So I think, yes, Africans should embrace technology, but we should quicken, fast-track our cybersecurity considerations around this technology. I think that is where the gaps are. But opportunity for us is to give our young people the chance to innovate, to think ahead. That's what I'm saying, that it is a gloomy picture that who is going to protect AI systems? I think this is a question we should be asking the African youth. Who? Because the next big thing is AI. But who is going to? This is robotic. This is automated. Automation, performing human activity. Who has control over that? But who is actually going to ensure the protection of the system? That how AI systems are designed operates in that particular manner. Just imagine a third party gains access to manipulate and control and possibly direct AI system to perform an activity, a function, which is not designed by intent and by scope and by objective to perform. So these are the scenarios that cybersecurity sphere we need to look at. But again, asking this question is rather bring the opportunity side into the question, that we need talent on the continent. We need data scientists who will even be able to examine data before they are fed into our AI system. We need cybersecurity specialists who will protect such systems. Certainly, we need cybersecurity professionals with ethics as well. I think that is also an important element of the game going forward. Basically, they need to embrace it. They should take over. I think that's the rule. Take over means develop it, protect it. I think that's all I have, for the younger people. They need to take over. They need to embrace it. That is the world they've been born into it. So take over means live in that in a very responsible manner. Create it, but also protect it. And we should be guided by ethics. I think ultimately, whether you're a user, a developer, a purchaser, a financier, going forward, ethics will play a key role in how we manage to use AI, to develop the future of this continent. It has a huge transformation economic potential, for us. But I think we need to manage the process in a very responsible manner. Very happy. Your country is clean. Keep it up. Don't ever let that. We talk about it. Yeah. Make sure you keep it. It's so important. I think we're proud. Every African, we're proud of what we see in here. So Rwanda is our second home. I want to commend you for what you've achieved. It's been quite exciting. Thank you.